So welcome back to the channel, and we're going to pick up a computer. So on the Facebook Marketplace, and I found a deal. So it looks like they're selling an entire computer for $300, and there's not a lot of information on it. So I went through the pictures, and based upon what I've seen, I think it could be a pretty decent computer, and I'll post a picture. It has an RTX, so at least a 20 series graphics card, and the CPU has a AIO. Now typically with AIOs that I have found from brands like HP and stuff like that, that's typically i7 territory, so that could be a good thing. Based upon what I'm seeing, I mean, we could be looking at an i7 10th gen, which actually could be pretty decent, and for $200 I can flip that all day long for about $400, you know, complete with mouse, monitor, keyboard, all that type of stuff. So there's meat on the bones for this. But just like any other used parts that I go pick up, there's always a gamble. Now pictures show it working, but that's about it. There could be some serious issues with it, or there could be nothing wrong with it, or it could just be one of those things that they're just trying to get rid of it dirt cheap and they need cash quick, which I run into those deals a lot. But it struck my fancy, and we're gonna head over to the Sheets, which is only 10 minutes from where I live, which is pretty nice because we're not gonna break the bank on gas, and pick this computer up. The Sheets. We're here. Honestly, I picked up a lot of really good deals at the Sheets. This is usually a place that I like to meet people at. It's actually worked pretty good for me. So now, there's always a gamble with these used parts deals. The biggest one is the odor factor. Is it going to be a smoker computer? Is it going to have the roach smell? And when you run into that, you have two options. Option number one, run away. Option number two, negotiate and gamble. If you've been watching the channel, you know what option I usually do, but we'll see. It has pictures of it running, which is pretty cool, but past that, I don't know. And honestly, I think they're here because they said a silver Pontiac with no back bumper, which I think there's the car right over there. Yep. So let me get out and make this happen. Folks, this is sketchy. I ain't gonna lie, this one's a little sketchy. They got a knife in the door. Oh, there they are. Hey, how you doing, man? All right, there she is, folks. RTX Ryzen 7 5000. Yeah, that was sketchy. So the lady got out, and then the dude got out, and they're right over there. The dude had a big knife on the passenger side of his door. I asked the question, you know, hey, are you just getting rid of this computer? What's the deal with it? And she tells me it was my ex, and he's in prison. Like, holy crap. Holy crap. But that's not even the best part. The vehicle reeked like illegal substances. But either way, we got the computer. Pictures showed it works. There's a fly over here. I'm just inspecting it quick right now. I just want to make sure that I don't smell no roach stuff, so that's a good thing. Yeah, it doesn't smell like roaches. I don't see evidence of roaches, just see a lot of dust. So, you know what? I'll take it. So let's get this back to the house, inspect it, and see what I got myself into. So one of the reasons why I have a pickup truck is for reasons like this. When I pick up stuff, I like to put it in the bed of the truck, and typically I have a bin or a crate back there that holds that type of stuff, but unfortunately, yeah, I can't find it. I don't know if I put it under the house, but anyways, the reason why I say that is because, well, the PC is riding shotgun. I did do the inspection, I did do some due diligence, and I don't see any evidence of roach infestation or anything like that. It's dusty, and you could tell that it wasn't a smoker's home, but not too bad. Not like super smoker, maybe light smoker, I don't know. But anyways, so yeah, she's got it right up here. And folks, I gotta say this, that used parts that used computer pickup, that was sketchy. That was probably one of the more sketchy ones, maybe even more so than the nighttime pickup that I did. I'll post the link in the video. That was pretty sketchy too, but this one, the people were sketchy. So she pulls up, car got no bumper. It is what it is. You can tell that the plate that's on that vehicle, yeah, it's definitely expired and doesn't belong on there, but that's just my law enforcement experience on that one. But anyways, when I start walking towards the vehicle, and I guess her friend or boyfriend, whoever the dude is, he gets out the car. He's like all tatted up, no shirt, his fists are bald, and the first thing I see is when that door comes open is that he's got a big knife in that door. I'm like, oh gosh, this is crazy. So he's just standing there and he just looks angry. I don't know what the deal is, but he's just angry. She gets out, she also looks angry. She pops open the trunk, and when she pops open the trunk, the strong odor of green vegetable matter, if you get my drift, is strong in there, like fresh, like, you know, they just had a good time, if you get my drift. So I'm like, this is great. This is great. Not sure where this is gonna go, but I see the computer, I look at it, everything looks legit for the most part. And then I ask her, hey, you know, are you upgrading? Why are you getting rid of it? And her exact words was that her husband is in prison for the next 15 to 20 years and he don't need it. I was like, oh, I think she said her ex-husband. Husband or ex-husband. But either way, the guy that it belonged to, that she is in a common law marriage with, or whatever the case may be, which means it's communal property, so I'm covered under that. He's in prison, so that's why she's selling it. So that is definitely an interesting one. Fortunately, you know, we're in a public area. There's cameras. That's why I choose that area, that spot, something to consider. And, you know, you just got to run with it. Used parts deals and the used parts hustle, it's hit or miss. Sometimes it's sketchy. Sometimes it's legit. Sometimes you get hosed. Then, you know, that's the gamble. Thankfully, I think I've only been hosed once doing this. But, yeah, always keep that in mind. So, about to pull up to the house. We'll load this in the garage and we'll see what I got myself into. Well, there she is. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. Yeah. Don't see evidence of the roaches, so that's good. As far as the monitor, not sure if I'm going to keep this or do anything with it. Reason being is because, well, I don't have the stand. Maybe I could get one cheap on eBay, but this is one of those Scepter monitors. I think these are like, what, maybe 60 or 100 bucks. I have to weigh it out. I mean, it's 75 hertz. I'm sure it's probably a 1080p. I thought that was a scratch, but that's actually coming off, so that's pretty good. As far as the keyboard, I am really not going to waste my time with this. I got plenty of those cheap Dell keyboards that I pick up for $1. So I think this is going to end up going in the trash because it's pretty gross and nasty, and I really don't feel like cleaning or messing with it. So yeah, not going to keep that. We do have an HDMI cable. We do have the power cord for the monitor. And I think this is the power cord for the computer. Okay. Haven't seen one like that before. Might have been something they just had lying around. Pop it open. Let's see if we can kind of figure out what exactly we're looking at. The storage, we got a 1 terabyte, so that's good. Memory, dual channel, that's nice. Probably at least 16 gigs, maybe 32, doubtful. This is the AIO we were talking about. Ryzen 7 5000 series, and just a bunch of dust. I mean, this thing is like really dusty, but it doesn't have the smell. I don't see the evidence of the roach fecal matter, so I'm gonna say we're doing pretty good. Now, the pictures did show it running, so I feel sort of good about that, but that could be premature making assumptions because, I mean, maybe it just boots and it crashes and it freezes and there's another type of issue. So yeah, there's that part. Unfortunately, I went to take a snapshot of the pictures and pulled up the listing and it's deleted. So she deleted that pretty quick. Don't know why. Should I be concerned? Let me know in the comments. But unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to dive into this today because, well, I got some other engagements I need to tend to. So hopefully tomorrow I should be able to get to this. We'll be able to clean this out, fire this thing up, stress test it, see if it works, and find out, did I get hosed or do we actually do pretty good for $200 for this? So we'll be back. So it's been 2 weeks and we had to take precautions with this one. And if you've watched the channel, you know sketchy just tends to find me. So first things first, I waited 2 weeks because I reached out to local law enforcement and just had them verify that this thing wasn't stolen. Wanted to take that precaution. I already took the precaution, opened it up and ensured that there was no roach infestations, no hidden illegal items, which I have a video on that, but I also wanted to make sure that this thing wasn't stolen. So I had them check the serial number, and not only the serial number, but also check for breaking and enterings that may have had a computer like this stolen. We're clear, we're in the good. Either it's not stolen or hasn't been reported stolen. So we'll go with not stolen. But for the most part, I mean, we're good at this point. But now it's time to dive in. So I still don't know the specs on it. I just kind of walked away from it, but looking at it, considering it's the HP Omen 30 liter and Ryzen 7, I did take some looks on the internet, and I think they came with like a Ryzen 7 5800X, 3060 Ti, probably 16 gigs of DDR4. So if that's what we have over here, it's actually a pretty decent system. And like I said, we could at least double our money back, probably a little more. I don't know, I'll have to gauge the market on that one. Now, as far as the monitor, I think I may have touched on that early in the video. I'm not sure, I really forgot to look this up and see how much these stands are, because this Scepter monitor, well, it does have the VESA now that I look at it. So it might be a good hanging monitor, or maybe I'll use it for a monitor over here if it works, if it's not scratched up. The initial listing showed it working, but then again, the seller deleted the listing after we picked it up immediately. Kind of unfortunate. So I think what we're gonna go ahead and do first is clean this thing up. I mean, we could just go ahead and send it. And folks, you'll be proud of me. We are gonna take this one outside and dust it out that way. So let's head outside real quick because it's getting hot. It's early, the temperatures are climbing, so we got a small window before it gets too hot to work in here. It's warm out here, holy bananas. All right, so I think what I wanna do first is take out this graphics card, because that's actually gonna give us more room to clean this out better. Gotta love these brackets and how they work or don't work. Okay. And the more I work on this, the stronger the smell of cigarette smoke gets. So that's cool. This computer doesn't want to give me the graphics card. And I've normally never had this trouble. I mean, is this latch stuck? Plastic pry tool. Yeah, latch was a little stuck. So now, bingo. EU. I mean, not the worst I've seen, but definitely a lot of dust. I'm gonna take a brush and agitate and break up all this dust. Now be careful if you ever decide to do it this way, because I've actually done this and snapped off the blades. It's gotta be nice and easy. All right, come on. There we go. What I really want to do is pull out this front panel, which I know it wasn't born there. You got a screw right here. We'll take it. Bingo. Wow. So I wonder if this thing just has a lot of hours. So does the more dust it have means that it has more hours, or just a very, very dusty home? I've always wondered that. Yeah, she's pretty caked in there. I'll have to do some homework and see how to get that out. Maybe it's those 2 screws there. I mean, just look at that dust flying. Holy bananas. I say, let's send it. Probably one of the smartest things I've done on this channel is actually cleaning a computer outside. I guess I can learn, but I really need to take this AIO off and get to the other side. Let's take this fan off. High miles, high miles. Woo! Should be able to now. Take out this power supply. I just want to loosen it up so I can get to the grill underneath and get that dust. Well, it's hot outside, and unfortunately we lost some footage. The camera overheated, but you get the point. It's cleaner than what it was, and the whole point was to get it cleaner where it's less nasty to work on. But honestly, it cleaned up really good, and the good thing is that we learned that there's definitely was no roach infestation. I was kind of nervous about that because my experience with computers like this, especially the sketchy ones, that's usually the origin story. Roaches! But actually this one was kept away from that. Very, very dusty and caked. Obviously they smoked while gaming or whatever they were doing during this. So, but that's not too bad. We can definitely get rid of the smell a lot easier. So let's go ahead, let's get some isopropyl alcohol. I just want to wipe down the case. Let's get rid of any other grime. Also see how well this cleans up, because this is definitely going to be a flip. And if you're saying, oh, all that dust and everything, you know, you can't sell a computer like that. Yes, you can. You just got to put a little elbow grease into it. And it'll clean up real nice. You can definitely get rid of the smoker smell. This one is not bad. I've had ones that were worse that I was able to get rid of. So this, we can definitely get rid of that smell and be in good shape. Now on this side, it's like, what in the world? I mean, that had got me nervous, making me think that there was a roach issue with this. But I think somebody just maybe spilled some adult beverage, chocolate milk, snacks. I don't know. I don't really want to smell it and find out. It doesn't smell. Requires a little extra elbow grease to get rid of. That's for sure. Yeah, a little plastic scraper will take care of that. That's just missing paint there. A lot better. Trekking along. Now let's take out the CPU cooler. Of course, Torx, great. Can use a flat. Do I have the right flat? Yep. It's crooked, but it'll work. Yeah, right. Thermal paste. Yep, definitely dry. Now, what CPU do we have? Let me know now, folks. What do you think? And dun 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 dun. Like I thought, the Ryzen 7 5800X, which means this is 16 gigs of DDR4, which that's pretty cool. And that graphics card is a 3060 Ti, which is pretty awesome. It's not a bad setup for $200. I mean, granted, if you're not tech savvy and you picked up this computer, it probably wouldn't run the best. It'd probably be pretty gross considering the condition it was in. But I mean, for us DIYers, $200 is not a bad deal. Definitely an easy flip. Everything is cleaning up pretty nice and probably done more than I should for right now, considering the information I have. But it's all good. I'm curious, I doubtful. It says SSD2 over here. Maybe they upgraded this, you know? Put in the second M.2, more storage. Let's see, what's behind door number 1? Nothing. And I lost a screw in there. Rats. Well, after vigorously shaking it around, the screw fell out and fell somewhere underneath the desk. So we'll find that later. We don't need that now. Just got a few little spots we forgot to dust out. Now our AIO is looking mint, so that's good. Let's get you plugged in back right over here. Nice. Let's get this mounted in. Did apply first thermal paste. Nice even spread. Now for the graphics card, we're just gonna send it. We did get all the dust. It's probably gonna need a thermal repaste, but I'm just anxious to fire this thing up and get out of the hot garage because, whew, it's getting warm. We'll come back in an earlier morning. So the trick is to start early, but I overslept. It happens. She's looking good, but does she work? That is the question. Last ran when parked, but we know how that goes. Let's give her some power. Okay, no power on self-test, which is good because I had an Omen that just kept on powering on its own every time you gave it power. Well, plugged into power. So that's a good sign. Now let's see what happens or doesn't happen. All right, AIO is circulating, I hear it. Whoa, we got a post right away. This is flipping sweet. Now, I don't have the internet plugged in, and I've done a video on this, and I always say this. If you have a computer you're not familiar with, don't plug it into your network. You never know. Bad things could happen. They could have bad things on there. Play it safe. But so far, we're looking good, folks. So I got a fresh copy of Windows 11 with the latest and greatest updates. Cough, cough. So let's go ahead and let's install a fresh copy of Windows. So it's the next day and we had to shut it down early. It got really hot in the garage. I think yesterday we hit 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which means it's typically a little warmer in the garage. Plus we don't have fan, AC, or anything like that, so there's no airflow and it just gets a bit intense. Now, like I've said, typically I don't do a lot of work in the summer. I batch record everything in the cooler weather, and I just kind of use the days that we get better weather to kind of work on this type of stuff. But I mean, this deal, I couldn't turn it down and it could be an easy flip. But I also wanted to document this. So you got to do what you got to do. I have considered options as far as cooling down the garage, but it's really not practical with the space I have and where I live. So maybe in the future we'll get a bigger garage, something with AC and all that type of stuff, or an area to work in with AC. But for now, do what you got to do. But anyways, it installed Windows perfectly, no issues, all the updates, and the computer's been running fantastic. Now, I did go ahead and set up the monitor. The monitor works. It cleaned up pretty nice, doesn't have any scratches on it, so that's pretty cool, but it doesn't have the stand. I'll probably have to look and see if I can get one cheap enough on eBay. It's not a great monitor, but it's good enough. I mean, it gets the job done. But considering it was included in the deal, why not? We'll figure out something for it. We can do a vase mount, but if I was to sell it with the computer, I do need to have a stand. So we'll look into that later on. But as far as this computer, like I said, it runs great, but we do have an issue with it. And it's not stability or anything, no glitches or hiccups, but it runs really hot. And this thing just sounds like a jet engine. I mean, it gets pretty intense. Not sure if it's an issue with the AIO. Might be an issue with the thermal paste spread, and the reason why I say that is because I was rushing yesterday and I started blowing out some of the extra dust and junk when I was cleaning, and after applying my thermal paste, it may have gotten contaminated. So we might look into that just to see if that is the issue. So we started the test. I ran this several times yesterday. Computer is solid. Idle, we're sitting about 50, but yesterday when I was downloading Steam games and just kind of using the computer just normally, we were hitting 90 degrees Celsius. Now, it was warmer yesterday. Today is a little bit cooler, but we've been running this for 2 minutes. We're averaging about 85 degrees Celsius, which is better considering it's a little cooler, not much, in the garage. So the ambient could be the issue on it, and probably if we take it inside the house, it would be cooler. But still, I think that's a little warm considering. Now, my thoughts is when I was messing with the AIO, it was very sloshy inside there, like it's missing coolant. That could be the issue, that the AIO is just on its way out or just not effective. I mean, it is a 120 millimeter, and there is like a little port where we can add fluid on it. So maybe we'll tinker with that. Maybe it is the thermal paste, but to me, that 85 degrees Celsius average just seems a little too toasty for me. Now, doing some research on this, I did read that you can actually put a traditional cooler in there. So maybe we could swap out a newer 120 millimeter AIO. That's option number one. Option number two, an air cooler. But the way this case is designed, we only have that 120 millimeter down there. And yeah, we got some good ventilation to suck in fresh air, but that's it. So we're only getting intake right over here, which realistically, maybe some of the graphics card, mostly the power supply. We have exhaust, so not sure exactly what route I'm gonna do to handle this, or maybe it's not even something concerned. My research was correct on this. It is the Ryzen 7 5800X, 16 gigs of DDR4, and it does have the 3060 Ti, which is still a pretty decent graphics card. But she's also getting toasty. 86 degrees, 87 degrees Celsius, 103 degrees Celsius on the hotspot. In defense for this pre-build, I will say this, I haven't changed the thermal paste on it. So this could probably be remedied with a repaste. And we could probably bring this down maybe from 88 to about 80 degrees Celsius. Like I said, number one, it's hot in the garage, but number two, not a lot of airflow going on in this case, but we'll definitely try that. So we're moving on to Cyberpunk, and this is what I was talking about. Already, 91 degrees Celsius, CPU is 86 degrees Celsius. As you can hear, she is loud. So we're gonna run everything at, I think I typically keep everything, ray tracing, no, we don't want ray tracing. I'm gonna keep everything at high. Video, 1080p. All right, I'm good with that. Load the game. Continue the game. And we're still at 91 degrees Celsius. GPU came down a little bit, so that's good. So right now we're sitting at 141 frames per second, lows to 108. We're at high settings, so it's not bad. So there is definitely room to go to ultra, maybe some 1440p. But man, this monitor is terrible. I don't know how well it comes out, but there's a lot of like ghosting. I mean, it feels smooth. All right, so the game feels pretty good, definitely playable. But the experience, it's not good because this thing is really loud. And probably louder than an Xbox or a PlayStation 5. Now the monitor totally is not ideal for this. Not a good monitor. I mean, it gets the job done. But graphics card, 86 degrees Celsius. CPU is just pegged at 91 degrees Celsius. But 3060 Ti and the Ryzen 7 5800X works perfect. But we gotta address these temperatures. So I think before we do any further testing, let's open this back up, let's repaste it, and let's see if we can make this better. All right, got this unplugged. Pop this out. And on the plus side, the smell is gone. Smells normal. So I'll take that. And that is really warm. Whew. Toasty. And I actually found a screwdriver for this. So no more flatheads. That's good. Now the thermal paste spread is actually not terrible. And I'm looking for any signs of contamination, which I'm not seeing. But I am gonna clean this up, take out this thermal paste. So I did use cheap thermal paste in a tube that I've used for computers. So I probably should have used better quality thermal paste. And there still is the fact that maybe some dust got blown in there. I mean, I don't know how well it comes out on camera because it's probably mixing in with the fibers of this towel, but I do see some specks of dirt that might have blown into this. Is that the smoking gun? Not sure, but it's definitely not supposed to be like that. Isopropyl alcohol to get it nice and clean. Now for thermal paste, I'm gonna use this Thermalright TF7. Never used it before. It may work good, it may not, but it's better than the other stuff that I use. That is, I paid like $5 for a big tube. I use it for low-end budget builds, and I just put it on here because I knew for the fact that we still had a lot of testing to do. It gets the job done, but it might not be enough for this one. I don't know the thermal properties. In fact, I couldn't even find it. So maybe that's our issue. So we're just gonna go ahead and see if this stuff will cooperate. I'm just gonna go with the X pattern. Probably way too much thermal paste, but it'll be fine. So I just realized something. This is the way I have it, and this hose is kinked. That's interesting. Now the question is, did I put it backwards? Cause yeah, that's kinked. And for it not to be kinked, I don't have any options there. And then, just seems like it's missing fluid too, but the bigger issue is this is kinked. This is the only way I could put it in. Yeah, because if I put it in that way, it's kinked. All right, let me play with this off camera. All right, so we've gone down a rabbit hole and I've learned a bunch. I spent a bunch of time off camera looking into this. And also, it's starting to get hot in the garage again. But we keep trekking along. So I checked and I checked and I checked. I did not mount this incorrectly. I mounted exactly how it's supposed to go. It only goes one way. Never took off this bracket and even took a look at a bunch of pictures. And this is how it's supposed to go, which, you know, that's cool. But the issue is, I mean, if you could look at it, it's already got a bend. And for some reason, when you really mount it in, the bend gets a little sharper. So that is a restriction on this, and that's not ideal. I mean, it's enough to cool it, but not enough to cool it properly. To me, this seems like an oversight or a factory defect. I'm not sure if it's just this one or all of them on like that. Let me know in the comments your experience, but yeah, I can't use this. That's a restriction, and that's definitely not going to get the job done. And then also the other issue, which is this, you know, she's a little low on coolant. Now it does have a port over here, which I'm pretty sure we could pop out and add more coolant to it. But then we go back to this, which I don't know. I mean, any restriction is going to cause a restriction or limit cooling potential, but I really don't want to run that like that. And the goal for this is to kind of cool this thing off and quiet her down. So no good. Well, then I got to tinkering and I said, well, let's put a factory AMD cooler in there just to kind of test things and see. Found this one, and well, I'm sure you can kind of see it, and I'll zoom you in. Yeah, the holes don't line up. And this is AM4, so this is not going to work. So then I'm like, what in the world? Just for curiosity, I found an old Intel cooler, and guess what? Everything matches up. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use this one, but that's kind of insane. That's a new one for me. So you have to use an Intel CPU cooler with this HP Omen just to make it work. Now, I found one from a system that I tore apart a while ago. It's a Cooler Master. Looks pretty nice. And yeah, even the threads and everything will fit perfect. So this will get the job done. So that's cool. Will it tame this 5800X? Maybe, maybe not. Not too sure. I haven't used this one before, but we'll definitely see. But yeah, so that's the fun with these pre-builds. But I really think this is a factory defect or oversight on this. Let me know in the comments. This one's fighting me. So I installed this cooler. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? It doesn't make contact with the CPU. It gets hot and shuts down. So that's not gonna work. Probably because these standoffs are too high. That could be the issue. Not sure which route I need to go. So I think what I'm gonna try is I'm gonna put back that cooler in. Let's go back with the thermal paste theory. Doubtful. You never know. But that just seems to be my only option. So let's try that. So computer's put back together, but we have 82.3 degrees Celsius. The fan is quieter. I mean, it's better. Not by much, maybe 3 degrees. And the only variable that we've really changed is the fact that we're using more reputable thermal paste and it's potentially not contaminated. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a 3 degree difference, which every little bit helps. My thing is, I mean, that kink can't be good for it. I don't get it. Maybe that's just the way it's supposed to be. It doesn't seem right. Maybe it won't be so bad when we're gaming. Let's go ahead, let's test out the graphics card. So graphics card, obviously we know it's going to be better because that thermal paste was pretty much done for. I mean, we're at 77, 78. It was at 88 degrees after about a minute of doing this. This is heat soak. I've ran the test a couple of times prior to this, so about 80 is where it's going to sit, which is an 8-degree improvement. I'll take it. The hot spot, 92 versus 103 degrees. The other thing too is the fans are a lot quieter. They're not going 100% beans just to manage it at 88, 90 plus 103. So, I mean, it's going up a little bit. The fans are managing where it needs to be. We got improvement, so I'll take it. So back on Cyberpunk, still 91 degrees Celsius. And yeah, she's just toasty and incredibly loud. So really not much I can do with this cooler. I'm gonna open this up, see how much of a difference that makes. That actually made it worse. Well, as far as the graphics card, so the graphics card shot to 86 degrees Celsius. The graphics card runs better with the panel on. CPU, no change. I mean, but that's gotta be the issue. That has to be the issue. So I want to try one more thing and we'll be back. Sketchy, but if it works, it works. Obviously we can't use it like this long term, but we did prove a theory. So I unscrewed this, swung it out over here. It's kind of resting over there. It's safe. And we got rid of that kink. That's how it's supposed to look. Now I did have to add this extension because obviously these cables are super short. And after about 2-3 minutes, our temperatures have went from 91 degrees Celsius to 83. So that's an 8-degree improvement just with flow alone. And you might say, well, the issue is that you have the panel open. Even with the panel open, it was staying at 91 degrees Celsius. So the panel wasn't the issue. Well, not saying that the airflow is not an issue with this case, but anyways, the fact of the matter is that this thing was kinked, not giving me good flow. It's already dropped down to 82, so it's slowly starting to come down. And I like those temperatures better. So this kink is definitely causing an issue with this cooler. I think we could get more efficiency out of this cooler if we were to service it and put more coolant in it. But the fact of the matter is, I can't use this cooler because, well, no matter how I mount it, it kinks and causes our temperatures just to skyrocket. So not too sure what to think about that or what to do about that, but we're gonna end this video here. Let's give you my thoughts and wrap this thing up. So this computer has been an adventure, starting from the beginning where the lady tells me her husband was sent to prison for 15 years is why she's getting rid of this computer. I mean, folks, that is just not a thing that you expect to hear. Definitely not on any of my bingo cards, but I mean, yeah, now I have this computer and hopefully in 15 years when he gets out, he doesn't come out looking for me to get his computer back, when he could just get onto YouTube, check out LGR's website and probably see it in this guy's museum of vintage PCs. The computer works. Graphics card is solid, memory, storage, all that type of stuff. It actually runs pretty good, but it gets hot, 91 degrees Celsius. And as that temperature continues to heat soak and everything, it's gonna get warmer and it's gonna start to downclock itself and it'll lose performance. Not to mention, it's really loud. And that issue is all caused by this hose getting kinked. Now, was it like that from day one? Maybe. Factory defect? Maybe I'm the one that got that 1 in a million cooler. Maybe they're all like that. I don't know. I definitely have to do some research on that. But as you can see, when we got rid of that kink, our temperatures dropped down to 83 on camera and then off camera, letting it cycle more. We got it to like 78 degrees Celsius, which is a lot better. Put it in a cooler environment and we're gonna have more manageable temperatures and our fans are not gonna be ramping up as much. So we definitely gotta address that issue. I can't sell this computer as is because of that. So I need to find the most cost-effective, aka cheap route to fix this issue and make this computer better. So we got a couple of options. One, hunt down the OEM air cooler or AIO. See if all the AIOs are like that. Maybe there's an upgrade model for it, or just use a factory air cooler for that. That's probably gonna be a pricier route because these are not coolers that you can just go to Best Buy and pick up. You have to get them from Dell if you can get them. So if they're sold on eBay used, you're gonna pay a premium for it. So it is an option, probably not the most effective or cost-effective option. Option number 2, make it better, which is probably what we're going to do. And the fact that we can take out the motherboard, take out the little back plate for the cooler, and find an air cooler that's going to be better for this. It's going to run quieter, it's going to run more efficient, and we're not going to lose performance because this thing is overheating. So leaning towards that route. The third option, which kind of coincides with the second option, yes, we swap out to an air cooler that's more efficient, but I'm really thinking about taking this Ryzen 7 5800X, finding out if I could pop a Ryzen 5 3600 in this PC, which I think I can, and taking that 7 5800X, putting it in another PC, doing a better build for that. The 5800X is a pretty good CPU even years later, and we could definitely get more bang for the buck putting it in a better computer environment for it, to say the least. And then the 3060 Ti with the 3600X and all these other specs, running nice and cool and quiet, we can still flip this and make some pretty decent profit off of it. So I'm leaning towards that. It just depends on my research. And then it also depends, you know, if I find a cheap air cooler for like 10, 15 bucks on eBay, I might even do that. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to do some homework. But in a nutshell, this is the gamble that you take when you buy used, number 1. And number 2, when you buy OEM like this. It's a gamble when you buy used because you don't know you're inheriting somebody else's problem. And it's a gamble when you buy new because a lot of these big manufacturers, and we saw this with my Dell video where that Alienware computer, the cover for the thermal paste was never removed like that, and that thing ran like garbage until we found it. But you take a chance in the fact that you spend so much money for this computer, and manufacturers cut corners to make more profit using cheap parts, oversights, defects, all that type of stuff. And that's why I'm a firm believer of educate yourself, learn, and build. Either learn to build a computer yourself or hire somebody that you trust to build the computer for you. Because either way, even with prices and the way things are, at least you know what you're getting, and you could be getting better quality for the price that you'll probably pay for something like this brand new. If you're interested in me doing a part 2 for this video, definitely let me know in the comments, and we'll do a video on which way I decide to go. So with all that being said, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. Was $200 a good deal for this computer? Which route would you go to fix it? And in 15 years, do you think I should go in hiding? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.